Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Vendetta Sports Media Daily Show. We have a different face here on this Tuesday edition. The man himself, hockey guy Trey. What's going on?
Oh, is that my intro? Hockey guy Trey. That's what we're going with today.
Trey Dahlbert. That's,
The fantasy playoffs started yesterday. I was hoping you'd be there, but
I know. I really had quite an epic collapse at the end of the season.
yeah, and especially at Tage Thompson, there was
I
almost
know.
no way he could have blew it. And
I know.
Stutzla was blown up too.
I know. Really, like a 2 or 3 month stretch to forget from Team Bagdonis over here.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I mean, he looks like you're poised for the three-peat at least. So, I wouldn't get steamrolled at least by you. So I guess, you know,
Is that the better alternative? You'd rather miss?
yeah, I would avoid getting, embarrassed.
Okay.
Having my final game of the season just be a disaster. But I don't know. You know,
I was hoping Scott would put up a little bit more of a fight, but it looks over after day one. So
I know it's not looking too great. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see who's going to try and go for the crown this time around.
well,
Team Trickster?
here's a better question. When are we doing the Sean Allen video? Because as soon
I
as it's
know.
kind of clinched, that's going to be a video we're looking forward to. And based on the posts that I've done in the past and just kind of looking through it on the preseason predictions, we're about in the 95% correct mark. So it's going to be a bloodbath.
It's gonna be beautiful. That's all I can say. It's just gonna be, you know, I think we don't see enough people really keep the receipts these days. So I for one am looking forward to seeing
I
Sean Allen just continue
Speaking
to
of
get
keeping
exposed.
receipts, it took me 45 minutes to screenshot all the Bears people the other day.
Yeah, yeah, that's something else. Ryan Poles is trying to distract everyone that he's an idiot by just blowing money out of his what.
I thought Chickster and Herrick did a really good job going over it yesterday. I don't know if you saw the live show yesterday.
I gotta catch up on that. Yeah.
It was around like the 45-minute mark they started talking about it, but I thought they did a really good job covering it. And Chickster is 100% right when he says he doesn't just stick up for Trey because I'm the boss. Like, I've gotten it plenty from him when he thinks I'm wrong. So
Of course. I've seen the bloodbath in Slack, more
yeah.
than on many occasions.
All right.
But
So what's the
I
plan?
mean,
Tell me the plan today. You're
yeah,
right.
I mean, we can just jump right into free agency, I guess. We saw Jacoby Myers is like the most recent name off the market. He's linking up with Josh McDaniels again in Las Vegas. So I mean, I don't know why they would pay him $11 million a season to be the third string receiver behind Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, but
Well, if you count Waller, he's fourth.
yeah. So I don't know. I guess they really, or I guess, he wasn't around in New England when Jimmy G was there, right?
Yeah, he was.
All
Yeah.
right, so maybe there's
So
maybe there's something
uh,
there.
Ryan Poles is getting hot and bothered over DJ Moore, and McDaniels is doing the same with all the Patriots. So
Yeah,
cool, I guess.
the cycle continues, I guess you could say. But yeah, I guess we can go into that. I mean, they you had Roquan Smith, and I think you're on the money with the whole Chase Claypool Roquan Smith debate, and
Well, that was
they'd
embarrassing.
rather they'd rather just have T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, which I mean I don't know. I'd rather just pay Roquan Smith. I'd happily give him the contract the Ravens gave him.
The numbers speak for themselves in terms of the impact that Roquan Smith had on the Ravens defense last year. They went from like 20th to 5th in DVOA, like that. And the second the Bears traded him, they lost every game the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
they weren't even in position. For those that remember during the trade deadline, they were never in position to get the number one pick. They got it on the last week of the year. And it's because they lost every single game after the trade.
And Lovey Smith did them a pretty big favor, but
Yeah. And
that's
not
not
only
here or
that, I'm
there.
sure when they traded that second round pick for Chase Claypool, they thought it was going to be in the 40s. Having that pick be 32 overall, and because the Dolphins forfeited their pick, they gave
Right.
Pittsburgh basically a late first round pick for Claypool. So
Just I don't get it
I
with
thought he should
Ryan.
have lost his job then. I thought that trade was so egregious that he should have never been given a chance to even do anything else besides that. the fact that anybody's going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one, I don't think it's the worst trade in the world, but I think he took 35 cents on the dollar for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, my question is now, do you think he could save himself at the draft if he just has a home run draft, like nails
I mean,
every
it's
pick?
possible. It's very possible. But the problem is it's a bad draft. I've been kind of talking about this for the last couple of weeks. I think this is the worst draft in like 5 years. I'm not necessarily talking depth-wise because every single year you're going to get guys in the 3rd, 4th round who hit. That's just how it works. But in terms of top-end first-round talent, how many guys do you feel good sleeping at night taking in the 1st round? Because for me, it's maybe 10. And
That's what I remember you saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much with you there. I mean, obviously the whole quarterback conversation is what's dominated the headlines, but I don't know, when you start to peel back those layers, especially like there's good receivers, not great. Obviously, as a Giants fan, I'm looking closely at the receiver class, but I don't know. I think I'm with you there. It's going to be, I don't know, when we look back in a couple of years, how many guys are really going to be looked at as elite impact players? I really
Well, you
don't
can
think
go
that.
through any draft ever. Pick one from 5 years ago, 6 years from ago. That you can just take the history of the 9th overall pick. There's a lot of flameouts. Just the way it works. Do you trust that guy to make the correct decision?
I mean, we just saw. I mean, this is not quite related, but John Morant hasn't been making the best decisions lately, unfortunately.
Are we doing more NFL stuff, or are we hopping into that?
We can stick with NFL. We'll
Okay.
keep it separate. We'll jump to NBA later.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, what I personally think, again, my Giants bias. I think Bobby Okereke was a good deal. They needed
He's
someone at
okay. I thought
linebacker.
it was a little bit of an overpay, but it's not going to
They're
break.
so desperate. We're so desperate. I cannot see Jalen Smith and Landon Collins start a playoff game ever again.
They had no business being in the
They
playoffs.
had no business being there in the first place, but
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
I I I guess this is maybe the wrong way to put it, but sometimes like winning is the worst thing that happens to you. I think you'd have been better off sucking this year compared to
I'd rather let Daniel Jones walk. Saquon can walk. Go for Caleb Williams. It's not that hard.
that's probably what I would have did. I don't think I ever would have locked myself into Daniel Jones, especially when you already made the decision. Like if you had any doubt that Daniel Jones was the guy, you pick up the 5th-year option, even if you're unsure, even if you think there's a sliver of hope that he can lead you to good things, you always pick up the 5th-year option. Otherwise, you've basically admitted you made a mistake with the 6th.
Man, the jury was already settled there when they declined it. And now, even though I'll give Joe Shane credit, he put all the guaranteed money in the first 2 years. He restructured the cap hit, so it's only 19 million this year. He did all these cap gymnastics, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just not a good decision.
Yeah, I would have did it. How many
Yeah.
touchdowns did he have last year? 15?
He did 15 passing, 7 rushing. They try to throw all the numbers in the
You can
playoffs
pick
to
a
make it
guy
look
in the
good.
3rd round that could do that this year for free.
Taylor Heineke could do that if he starts an entire season.
For free.
Probably better. Probably more touchdowns.
Taylor
Maybe
Heineke just
more.
got 10 million a year.
Yeah, Atlanta.
So,
Atlanta loves him.
well, they're a disaster.
Yeah, I mean,
I cannot
Jesse Bates.
believe they're going to go into next year and say Desmond Ridder, you're our starting quarterback. I cannot believe they're doing that.
Oh my God, that's pretty bad. I won't lie to you. I mean, and they're just throwing money. It's always good to improve the defense, I guess, no matter who you are.
Who
But
they
like
get? Onyemata?
Jesse Bates.
Okay. They're still going to suck.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think Carolina could easily win that division now.
Absolutely.
They get.
They have to keep going. They can't stop. They got to get probably another receiver, make some good decisions on draft day. I'd like to see him maybe because their defense is actually good.
Brian Burns is awesome.
Their
CJ
pass rusher is
Henderson.
better than any pass rusher the Bears have. Their defensive tackle, Derek Brown, is better than any defensive tackle
Secondary
the
is
Bears have.
yeah.
J.C. Horn is better than any corner
J.C.
the
Horn's
Bears have.
elite. Yeah.
So it's not a bad defense. And Sam Darnold went 4-2 last year in a couple starts. If they take Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud and they're ready to go, and I don't know how high their ceiling is, but I think they can play.
Oh, I
They
totally think
win
they could
that
play.
division.
CJ Stroud, especially, is who I keep hearing on like Twitter and stuff. But they can
Seven and
land one
nine
of the
might win that
receivers.
division.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I really, because you think about it, Atlanta, we just said sucks. New
They're hard.
Orleans, I don't think Derek Carr has never been the answer, never will be for any team,
And
Raiders or
not even
Saints.
that. If Sean Payton was still there, okay, you like New Orleans, fine. Dennis Allen was a joke last year. Dennis Allen was totally lost and over his head.
He
The
was,
Saints
he
were
was,
horrible.
yeah, he was the Andrew Burnett of the NHL of the NFL last year.
He was horrible last year.
Yeah, he got dog walked.
Sean Payton leaving. I mean, I can't believe
They
Sean
do
Payton.
get draft picks at least,
I
but
can't believe Payton picked the Broncos. But there's no denying that he's an awesome coach, and they were lost without him last year.
yeah.
So, I mean, sure, you can sign Derek Carr, and that's fine. Who's the offensive mind that's going to prop him up?
There's none right now.
So, and Tampa Bay, if you're going to start Kyle Trask and they're in cap hell and they're going to get worse roster wise, I don't know. I don't know. I think Carolina is very much in the mix to win that division. I'm not
Absolutely.
guaranteeing that it's going to happen. There's a lot of time yet to go in the offseason. But if let's say they come out of this with Hopkins, it's possible.
Yep.
Make a couple of good draft decisions. Add one more piece. They brought back all 5 starters on their offensive line. Their offensive line's not terrible either. It's gotten a lot better.
Quainu, I think he's gonna have a big year. I think the Giants would get him.
I don't know. They're a lot better than the Bears think that they are.
And they're like, oh, we're gonna have another top 3 first-round pick from the Panthers next year. Hell no.
No
I
chance.
think you win 7 or 8 games next year. You're gonna just like this year. You're gonna be in the running for that division.
Absolutely.
No question about it. And I mean, it's like you said, or I guess we could also touch on that. Sam Darnold. I saw
if
that.
you make the playoffs, that's pick 22. Just it doesn't matter your record at that point.
So even if next year's draft is better, you're still gonna have egg on your face. All the Bears fans and Ryan Poles most of all. But I think I saw that post you just I didn't get the chance to read it, but I saw you made that fantasy post about Sam Darnold in his homecoming to the 49ers.
Yeah, I think again, I know that he hasn't hit and it sucks. And I love Darnold coming out of the draft. For me that year, it was Darnold and Josh Allen. And it was pretty well known that Darnold was going in the top 3. And after that, it was kind of a crapshoot and you had to trade up. So it wasn't just me that liked Darnold. He was going in the top 3. He's still 25. He's still 25. Like
he's guys to throw it to.
He is the same age as Hendon Hooker, who is entering the draft this year. I don't think it's fair to just totally give up on the guy that he's worthless. I don't. If you put Sam Darnold on the Tennessee Volunteers last year, which is basically what Hooker was, you're telling me he would have been bad playing against college guys? Like, I don't know. This is the first time in his life he's had actual support. And I think last year, the situation in Carolina, keep in mind, Frank Reich's coming in. They have a real head coach this time. Yep. Last year, Matt Rule, and I've kind of been on the record that I liked Matt Rule, but anytime you fire a guy mid-season and then replace him with a defensive head coach, and your offensive coordinator is McAdoo, who you have, I'm sure you have fond memories.
I've been punished by Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, that was their coordinator last year. So it wasn't a really great situation, and we saw the second that Baker Mayfield got cut by Carolina and went to the Rams, he played much better. And Darnold went 4-2 last year with that Panthers team. So, and who the hell has ever succeeded with the Jets at quarterback? Every guy they pick sucks. So
Zach Wilson, I don't know what
I don't think it's all on him. I never did. I never will. Who's the last guy that's flamed out with San Francisco? He won games with Nick Mullins.
He's going to have Kyle.
He went undefeated in the regular season with Brock Purdy, who was the last pick in the draft.
He's going to be very good for them. I don't think he's going to be their starter per se, but Trey Lance, I don't know. You think they're going to bring him back, or obviously they'll bring him back, but
I don't know how good he's going to be. But if he starts, in a 2 quarterback league, yes, he's absolutely rosterable in fantasy
Oh, absolutely.
if he
I have no
starts.
doubt about that.
And with
But
nobody's talking about this. When is Trey Lance coming back? Has he practiced? Is he throwing? Do we know? When is Brock Purdy coming back? Because I mean, he tore his UCL. We see what happens to baseball pitchers when that happens.
yeah,
We have no
well,
idea when these guys will be healthy enough to start. There's a real possibility Darnold's a starter in week 1.
and honestly, we everybody who watches football knows how good Shanahan is. So I don't think
Yeah.
49ers fans should be that worried because I
And
feel like
it's not even that. He could
three of the
suck.
best.
He could suck. And McCaffrey and Debo Samuel are going to do a lot of the work for him.
Yeah, the best, arguably the best skill position group in
How
the
many
NFL.
screen passes and dump offs have McCaffrey and Debo Samuel taken to the house over the years?
More than we could count.
So I think he's absolutely has some fantasy value. Yes.
Just by being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then I guess we didn't even talk about that. I know, the Broncos got McGlinchey. They got a bunch of guys. I didn't even know they had this kind of cap space. They could be blowing money, even though they gave Russell Wilson
They
probably
lost Draymond Jones. That sucks. But
uh they gave him the Russell Westbrook contract.
yeah, kind of. Kind of. Man, I don't. What are they accomplishing with that?
I mean, I don't know why. Why do you try to? Why are they trying to arm wrestle with the Chiefs in that division and the Chargers, who just got Eric
I'm
Hendricks?
not
Like,
saying you don't want to improve your roster. I'm never saying that. But at this point, he is absolutely delusional if he thinks money's going to fix this issue. Like
Sean Payton's in it. Yeah, it's not
at
gonna.
this point, you need to maybe think about starting to sell off some of the pieces on your roster so that you can live to fight another day down the line. Because this year is a lost year too.
Yeah, the AFC's too loaded, and I mean, I was as a Giants fan, I was very high on Jerry Jeudy at last year's trade deadline. If they were inclined to give him up, but
Well, that's something that they should probably think about. Like, what's the if DJ Moore is going for that? Could you do the same thing for Cortland Sutton? I almost called him Cam Sutton.
yeah,
I would rather trade Sutton than Jeudy because I don't think Jeudy has quite popped yet, and I think he will.
yeah, I think he's gonna be good.
I think we've seen what Cortland Sutton is.
We've seen the
Or
best of him.
if somebody is really desperate for a receiver, KJ Hamler's hurt all the time, but I mean he's a good player. Could you get something for him?
I'm sure you could, but yeah, I mean, they should be thanking whoever if they finish second in that division. They should be on their hands and knees thanking whoever if they can somehow be the best team, not name the Chiefs in that
I
division.
think, man, he would have to work miracles to get second. I don't think it's impossible.
It's going to be they'll be last again. I think.
I don't think it's impossible, but man, it's just, this is the biggest ego job in the world. The fact that he thinks he's going to turn this around and win a Super Bowl. It's nuts.
It's delusional. It is delusional. I honestly think Chickster may give me a kiss, but the Raiders have a better chance than them.
Oh boy.
Jimmy G is the opposite of Derek Carr. He's a steady. I mean, I guess there's off the field drama, but that's whatever. But he's not going to be doing
Was not
stupid
happy
stuff.
about the Jimmy G signing. Watching that Daily Show yesterday.
Yeah, I got it. I should have watched that. I wanted to see what Chickster's reaction was, but I think I'd rather take Las Vegas's roster over Denver's right now. If I had, you put a gun to my head, I don't really know who.
I don't know. I still like Pat Surtain a lot. They're not.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're not totally void of talent, but with Russell
If Javonte
Wilson,
Williams is healthy,
that's not a guarantee. With Russell Wilson and the contract that he has, I don't see how you can be like a legitimate contender to really win big games.
Yeah, it's just Mahomes is going to beat their ass twice a year. I don't think that's ever going to change. Even though I saw the whole Orlando Brown thing, they're not really bringing him back. They got the guy from the
Yeah, that was a
Jaguars.
weird one to me. The Jawan Taylor thing. I thought that was
Yeah,
weird. He's been Jacksonville's right tackle for the last however many years, I think 4 or 5. They're going to ask him to now be the new left tackle. And I know they kind of just did this with Orlando Brown, but I think Orlando Brown's a better player than Taylor. So,
absolutely.
and he's a house. Like, he's not the most skilled guy in the world, but he's a fucking house, Orlando Brown.
Yeah, he's a unit. I knew ever since he's on the Ravens, he's gonna be somewhat a shutdown player for somebody. He's gonna.
I thought the Taylor one was a little bit of an overpay. I understand wanting to keep the offensive line intact. I get that. But man, that's a big price tag for a guy that we don't know if he can even play left tackle.
Well, wouldn't I mean? I saw they lost Andrew Wiley. Also, do you think they could play right tackle and they
That's
find somebody
true.
else?
Maybe they like a guy in the draft that they'll pick in the first round, and that's their new left tackle. But
If it's like another Creed Humphrey situation, then I'm sure that would be.
Creed Humphrey's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to like remember the last
again back.
guy.
I defended them when they made that Orlando Brown trade, and technically Creed Humphrey was part of it. They swapped their first round pick for the Ravens' second round pick, and then got Orlando Brown basically. And then in the second round, they took Creed Humphrey. I defended them on that the whole time. So I don't know. I don't know what the correct phrasing would be, but
I mean, worked out great
the
for
left
them.
tackle problem this year will be harder than it was when they got Orlando Brown.
Absolutely. Especially, yeah, it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I guess, like you said, it's probably someone in the draft they like. But
well, yeah, the 31st pick too.
Yeah, I have to brush up on the tackles and see who's supposed. I know Paris Johnson. He's nowhere near. He's not going to be. He's going to be long gone.
They might all be gone by the time they pick. That's the problem.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. And then I guess I could see what your 2 cents are on the Ravens letting go of Calais Campbell.
It's fine. He's old at this point. I think he's still a good player, but they were paying him a lot. They save a lot on the cap. They might still bring him back, which I guess they said is possible. But
yeah,
nothing else really matters to me unless somebody, bucks up and gets Lamar Jackson off my hands. That's what I really
yeah. So I think that's to me the whole offseason for the Ravens. And I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know,
I mean, nothing's going to happen until he realizes that mommy can't be his agent.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, or I think you tweeted it about if he had Scott Boras, this would have been done for. He would have gotten his money. It would have been,
That's the craziest part to me is that his goal is to break the quarterback market. Fine. You want to get your money, go ahead and get your money. I'm not going to begrudge somebody for wanting to get their money. Now, you're not going to have anybody on your team. But if somebody wants money and that's their number one priority, who am I to say that they can't do that? Fine, go ahead. But to suggest that you're going to do that by yourself with mommy's help is fucking crazy and just shows how stupid he is.
Yeah. I don't know what he's thinking.
Like if I'm a professional athlete and my goal is to make the most money possible, I'm hiring Scott Boras. I don't care that he's only doing baseball contracts. He would be the guy that I hire. He's the guy that would get something like this done.
Who cares if he gets a piece of the pie out of it? It's going to be done. At least you're not going to.
You will make more money with him doing your business than you will you doing it yourself.
100 times out of 100.
Like, maybe this is a bad example, but my dad had a driveway sealing company, and I worked when I was like a teenager my whole life or whatever. And we used to have a saying like, go ahead, do it yourself. Go ahead, do it yourself.
Go ahead, Lamar, do it yourself.
Because the shit you're going to buy at Home Depot and then you don't really know what you're doing and then you're spreading it out and making a fucking mess. Go ahead, do it yourself.
Good luck.
You're way better off having us do it, having done 1,000 driveways every single year, rather than you taking 6 hours doing it yourself, making a mess,
looking like a fool.
Doing. So I think it's completely and utterly fucking delusional that he has mommy as his agent.
I
And
really
anybody
don't know.
that's sitting there being like, oh, the disrespect, all the collusion. Agents protect players from all of that. No team would come out and say, we're not interested if he was represented by someone who was representing 50 other players because they wouldn't do it. They know they need that agent down the line to sign somebody else. They would never say these things if he was represented by someone. Never. That's the problem.
Yeah. And now it's like, what do you even do at this point? Like, is he going to just pull an agent out of the blue? Is he going to like just continue to throw tantrums on social media? Like, I really don't know.
That's the problem. If he had someone protecting him and a real agent, these teams would never come out and say this stuff. Never.
I really thought the Falcons were going to make a run at him, but even they don't want anything to do with him.
They don't want him. The Panthers don't want him. The Patriots don't want him. The Commanders don't want him. The Raiders don't want him.
The Jets don't. I mean, the Jets. We could talk all day about
if
the
the
Jets.
Jets get Aaron Rodgers, then they don't want him.
Imagine that. Imagine Aaron Rodgers just decides to retire and the Jets pull a 180.
I want Lamar Jackson gone in the worst way possible. I truly, truly do. But I am finding this so funny that these teams are publicly announcing that they're out.
It's mind blowing.
When's the last time it happened?
To a former league MVP.
When's the last time it happened? Teams publicly announcing they're out. Has it happened to a single free agent this year? Any other one?
Not last year.
Nope.
We can just go back and back.
Nope.
That's outrageous.
Even the Panthers and the Falcons wanted Deshaun Watson. And they were willing to pay him whatever basically he wanted. And he had 50 sexual assault cases? Lamar, no thanks.
50 women?
Yeah, no thanks. I don't know.
But no thanks, Lamar.
But hey, I'm sure it's just, disrespect. I'm sure that's the problem. It's not.
They're not perfect, Harbaugh and DeCosta, but I mean,
that's the thing. They're trying to get this done. They've said they want him back 800 times. They've made offers to him. He just doesn't respond and doesn't even try to engage on it. Mostly because I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, at least they've
been working on this for the last 24 months or something, and they said they're $100 million apart.
Just outrageous. And the only thing that Lamar's lucked into is that I guess the non-exclusive tag he's on, it lasts until like week 10 of the next season. So let's say someone goes out, breaks their patella in the week 1, then maybe someone will pay up. But
I don't think he's going to sign the tag. I really don't.
Yeah. I have just no clue what's going to happen anymore. And then they're like, who has 2 first-round picks?
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play.
I feel like it's even worse than the Le'Veon.
At this point, who's giving him the money he wants? Who's left?
The Ravens, if they somehow decide to bury the hatchet, and then the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't.
They're not the one that needs to bury the hatchet. He needs a wake-up call, and for him to bury the hatchet.
He needs an agent. It's that simple.
And again, it's not a linebacker contract. He's trying to break the quarterback market. And to do it by himself with mommy.
He thinks he can get the exact same deal as Deshaun Watson. And more power to him. That's all I can say.
It's nuts.
I wish him all the best. That's all I can say.
I'll be rots.
I mean, then I think Ravens fans would rather scoop their eyes out with a spoon than watch Tyler Huntley be their starting quarterback for a full season.
I think I'd rather see Huntley than Lamar, but that's just me.
Huntley was a Pro Bowler last year.
They almost beat Cincinnati with Huntley. If he doesn't fumble the 1 yard line, they win.
That's true. They do win it. They do win that game if Chuba Hubbard doesn't.
And the year before, Lamar got benched against Buffalo, and Huntley was better when they put him in.
Or what? He threw 2 picks or 3 picks against Buffalo?
He was a disaster against Buffalo last year. A fucking
disaster. And then the year before that, the Titans just come into town and just absolutely ruin him.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go on and on. I mean,
the Chargers, his first playoff game was a a total
Philip
disaster.
Philip Rivers outplayed him.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm not saying Philip Rivers is a bum, but like he's like what 36 in that game. I don't know.
I think older.
Yeah, probably over that,
So,
but yeah, who knows at
all
this
right. What
point?
else
At
we got?
least,
What else we got? What else we got?
yeah, I'm trying to think. Other deals that were in place. I
I thought you sent me a list
mean,
of shit you wanted to talk about.
yeah, I did. I was
Let's do the
screwed with
NHL and Morant and get out of here.
NHL Morant. So I obviously, your Hurricanes curse is starting to take hold.
How about that? How about that?
Um,
How about that? Again, I don't root for injuries. I love Svechnikov. I think he's awesome. I love Svechnikov.
he's elite. He's elite. It's that
He's
simple.
awesome. I would love to have that guy on my team any day of the week. But I do find it a little odd that he got hurt against the Golden Knights.
That's like you said, the karma gods. They're working overtime.
I mean, at this point, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
That's why I was saying even more now. If the Islanders can somehow find a way to jump over Pittsburgh and have them in the wild card, then
I
we
think
could
at this
start.
point, Jersey's going to catch them. They're tied with
Yeah,
them right now.
Rangers are going to blow the brakes off of them.
I want to pull it up. I think Jersey is tied with them.
Oh, they have a game in hand on Jersey.
Yeah,
is
they
what I
have a
think.
game in hand on Jersey with like 17 to go. I think Jersey's going to catch them. I really do. And at that point, your first round matchup is going to be against the Rangers, a team that buried them last year, a team that's gotten better from a year ago, a team that since then has stolen your second line center in Vincent Trocheck. They've added Patrick Kane. They've added Vladimir Tarasenko. They still have Shesterkin, and your goalies are never healthy. So I'm not picking them to beat the Rangers if they play in the first round,
No way.
especially without Svechnikov.
Svechnikov would be the one reason why they could probably
They
power
couldn't
through.
lose him or Aho. There's just no circumstance where they can overcome that.
It's code red for them
Now
now.
maybe they can hang on to that number one seed, and they're gonna have to at this point to have any prayer at making a run.
Well, I think either the Islanders or the Penguins could really give them a run for their money now.
The upset possibility, if they do hang on to that number one spot in the Metro, is much higher now than it was back then. Like, and
Yeah.
especially this reason, he's nasty, Svechnikov. Like, he's the one guy on their team. He'll fucking bury guys. He throws hits. He'll punch dudes.
He'll get in fights.
He's a nasty fucker, and you just can't replace those guys. It's like
They think
these guys aren't the exact same, but every time the Oilers don't have Evander Kane, they're a little bit soft. They get pushed around. They don't have the same kind of punch as when Evander Kane's in the lineup. It's the same thing here. You have to, like, when Tkachuk's on the ice, the Senators are horrible, and the Florida Panthers have been carried by him.
Yeah.
Tkachuk
they still have
year.
a whiff of a playoff chance because of him.
Yeah. So
A whiff.
he's one guy you couldn't lose. And not only that, my prediction, by the way, in the Hurricanes was 100% correct.
You're on the money.
A quiet trade deadline will start to pump the panic into the Carolina Hurricanes fan base. And what did they come away with? Gostisbehere, he's a good power play specialist. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he's not good defensively.
He's going to get torn to shreds in the playoffs.
He's playing like 15 minutes a night. He's a third pair guy, and he's basically your new D'Angelo. Great. And then Pugliar.
Kane is going to,
Pugliar is fourth.
Oh, my.
So, how much better did you get compared to the rest of the Eastern Conference, where Boston loaded up in a big
Boston, way? Rangers, Devils, Lightning,
Leafs.
Everyone.
Leafs loaded up. Everybody loaded up except them.
Islanders.
They basically they loaded up less than Pittsburgh did. Mikhail Granlund would have been I don't even like Mikhail Granlund, but Mikhail Granlund's a better player than anybody that the Hurricanes added.
Well, now all the Hurricanes fans can do is ratio you on Twitter now. That's all.
This one, like, the lack of aggressiveness by Carolina was baffling to me. Like, you couldn't even bring back Max Domi. Do you remember Max Domi? I'm not saying Max Domi's a world beater, but he had some big goals in that Game 7 against Boston last year. He won them that playoff series. You couldn't even bring him back. The Stars got him instead. I don't know. Like,
They let him walk to Chicago and they traded him off to
you're
Dallas.
gonna let Kotkaniemi be your second line center, and now
Uh,
you really don't have any wingers outside of Teravainen.
I think that what's his name? Derek Stepan is a difference maker
Oh
in
God,
2023.
what are we
Derek
talking about?
Stepan.
Rod Brindamore might very well be the best coach in the NHL,
Oh,
but
I agree.
he don't have the guys now.
He doesn't have the horses.
No,
And it's a shame because it was really that simple. You laid it out very clearly. I agree. Max Pacioretty's made of glass, but obviously you stepped on the toes of too many Hurricane fans, and now they're gonna have to suffer.
that's what these people do all the time. They just can't put their hand up in the air and say they were wrong. That's it. That's all they have to do. That's all they still have to do.
I mean,
So.
it's really not that hard.
Well,
It's not rocket
we did
science.
have a former employee drop a tweet saying, "Oh, wouldn't want to play the Carolina Hurricanes in the playoffs. These guys, they don't lose." Well,
They just lost their second best player.
probably their second best player. Yeah, I think Aho's their best player, and
I think so too.
I think Slavin's probably their third best player.
I think Slavin's the most underrated defenseman.
Defensively, they're still very good, so they're going to be in these games. But I mean, the last couple of nights they don't score.
Power play here, like
they have 0 goals in their last 2 games, right?
Svechnikov just really he drives the play there for so many different reasons. I mean, Aho obviously is great, but he can't do it by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean,
mm-hmm.
Do you think Chicago Bears fans are going to see a curse anytime soon, or I mean, they're already cursed.
I have a little plan for them. Don't worry, I have a little plan for them. I just want to know when he gets fired. I want to know if they actually call me. I don't think they will.
If one fan can apologize to you,
I don't think the Bears front office will, but I'm very curious to see if they do, because it'll be the second time I have now owned them. And at some point, why do you keep hiring some dope named Ryan? They just keep cycling Ryan Pace, Ryan Poles. Who's the next Ryan you're going to hire that flames out?
I don't even want to know. I just it's so easy. Just have an intern say, "Hey, go on Vendetta Sports Media, take 2 hours, read this guy Trey Dalbert's articles, and give us a report." And then they're gonna realize that you're the.
Let's finish.
Yeah, let's close it out. We'll close it out with John
Morant.
It'll be quick.
Close it out.
Yeah. All right. So
anybody that says their favorite player is Russell Westbrook, we know they have some stuff going on in their head that maybe they shouldn't have going on in their head. And the craziest part to me about this Morant stuff, he's not even hood. Like he went to private school.
He went from the suburbs. Both parents there.
He's not even hood.
Family. He's not hood.
What
His real name is Demetrius. His real name is Demetrius.
Like Damian Lillard is hood.
Yeah, he's from Oakland, California.
Damian Lillard is hood, and he doesn't really do this shit. What is he doing?
Quiet. Yeah. I don't get it. And like former players, like everyone has kind of come out and just.
And I heard the craziest part: Steven Adams apparently held like a team meeting, like, "Hey guys, playoffs are ramping up.
Let's keep it together.
Take this stuff seriously." And he went out the next night.
I saw those pictures from the New York
If I was Steven Adams, I'd slap him. I really would.
Just grab him by the shoulder.
I really would. I wouldn't care. I would get. Fuck it. Suspend me for the year. I don't care. Wow.
Those pictures from the New York Post are just absolutely outrageous. The whole floor was covered in cash, and it's just outrageous.
I guess it's the double-edged sword. Like, hey, if you have that talent, you don't really think of it. But man, like as someone that was never going to play in the NBA, as like a short white guy that was never going to play in the NBA, how could you do this to yourself? How could you do it?
You had it all set. You had the money set. You were going to, if not Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum, he was going to be the face of the NBA after LeBron.
He was already starting to become it.
Yeah. Memphis, he literally brought that, I mean, Jackson may disagree, but he brought that team from the dead. Memphis was like off the map before him.
I say this all the time, and I 100% believe it. The worst commodity in the NBA is always the diva point guard. Move off of them before it's too late.
Trae Young. Is Luka Doncic going to become one of those pretty soon?
I don't think he's necessarily like a diva point guard because he's like 6'8" too.
He's a
I don't know. I don't really count him as a point guard. Maybe you should. But the Steve Francis, the Marburys, Westbrook, Derrick
Kyrie,
Rose, they're all the same headache. Not worth it. John Wall. You can go up and down the list. Gilbert Arenas, Allen Iverson. They never win anything.
I mean, you need someone there to be with them. You need like look, Kyrie needed LeBron, and then the rest of those guys. You said I don't even know if one of them got a championship.
Zero.
And I mean, hey, you look at the non
The worst
divas. You look at
commodity
Steph
to have.
Curry. Steph Curry keeps his mouth shut, and he just does his work.
Mhm.
4 titles, 2 MVPs, Finals MVP. He carried Kevin Durant to 2 rings.
Well, hold on. Let's
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not saying carried. Kevin
carried
Durant
is
was.
a strong word.
That's a strong word. That's a strong word. He
Kevin
got the
Durant
2 finals.
is part of the greatest starting five in the history of
Yes,
basketball.
I think. Yeah, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, not them. They're better. Yeah, the Warriors are better than that.
That's the greatest starting five ever. And again, this always goes back to my Durant argument. Maybe we can close it out here. We'll see if you agree.
Yep.
I will always, if given the choice, pick Durant over LeBron for this reason. If you're building a starting five, Durant can do whatever you ask him to. You want him, hey, you're gonna hit threes today? Fine.
He'll
He's
stand in the
never a
corner.
guy that needs to dribble the fuck out of the ball. Like you want him to rim protect, fine. Like LeBron, the ball's in his hands, everyone's standing in the corner, and he's dictating whatever you do. Durant is never like that.
Durant can get out and run in the fast break. He can
You can
defend.
have Durant do 8, 9, 10 different things. He's the best lethal pure scorer I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, the one thing I will always agree with Stephen A. Smith on is if he made the choice, he would have already passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in scoring. I really think, just in terms of that ability, or by the end of his career,
I mean,
I think he's
the
just
biggest
that
thing
good.
against Durant is he's just never healthy now, and it's getting
Yeah,
worse. As he's gotten older.
especially
But
now.
during his prime years that were wasted, and I mean that
Oh yeah,
wasted
Oklahoma.
with Westbrook. If the Celtics win the lottery that year, or they had the best odds to win it. I mean, if he's not picked by the Thunder and stuck with Westbrook, his career is looked upon totally differently.
Yeah, if he went to Portland instead of Greg Oden, he'd be, you know,
Anywhere. If he's not stuck with Westbrook, people view him differently, and they don't do that, and it's really unfair.
yeah, it's true. It's determined so much of his public image now. That time in Oklahoma City, and I mean, yeah, I mean that's pretty much all there is to it.
Westbrook was never more competent than when he had him.
Never, he's won 1 playoff series since
They went
Durant
to the
left.
finals with Westbrook.
They
Never happened
won
with
in game
anybody
1.
else.
That's just how good he is, and it's a shame, like you said, durability. I mean, even LeBron now with his foot.
I mean,
I
it
don't know.
happens. These guys are falling apart. That's the whole reason why I hated giving up Bridges. You couldn't do it. Couldn't do
He
it.
would have been the best backup option.
Couldn't do it.
All your eggs are in that basket now.
I would have rather given up Ayton. And I think post trade, the way that Bridges has played in Brooklyn, I think you're
Phoenix.
seeing that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
All right. I think we're
all
good.
right. All right. We'll see you next time, people. I'll get this post up. Everyone have a great Tuesday. See you next time.